Loneliness often hides behind high productivity, easy laughter, and the familiar excuse of simply being too busy. But beneath that routine is a quiet, persistent ache, the creeping realization that if you disappeared entirely, most people wouldn't even notice. To understand why this hurts so much, we have to look at our evolutionary history. The human brain developed in tightly knit tribes, where being separated from the group was a literal death sentence. Notice the split view, one side for physical injury, the other for social isolation. Because the brain conflates isolation with danger, the exact same neural pain regions light up. It then shoots signals down your nervous system, altering heart rate, fragmenting sleep, and elevating anxiety. This constant humming anxiety serves as a biological survival mechanism, forced into overdrive by a modern world that keeps us isolated. Society often assumes that people without friends are inherently cold, detached, or deliberately antisocial. The reality is exactly the opposite. Chronically lonely individuals actually care deeply. They observe intensely, noticing every micro-shift in a room's tone or a person's energy. No one wakes up and simply decides they don't need anyone. The descent into isolation happens slowly, through a series of small, compounding disappointments, like trusting a friend with a secret, only to watch them use it against you later. Psychologists map this in a flowchart. It begins when you reach out. When met with rejection repeatedly, the loop closes into learned social helplessness. Your brain unconsciously associates reaching out with emotional damage. Watch energy from the top node get routed right back into pain. The brain repurposes isolation into a deliberately constructed emotional shield, choosing the safety of distance over the unpredictability of connection. Shutting out the world, then, is a deeply rational act of psychological self-preservation. It is protection, not pride. Living entirely inside this protective state begins to distort how you experience reality. Without the natural rhythm of external social interaction, your perception of time slows down. Minutes feel physically heavier. You also develop social hypervigilance. The isolated brain constantly scans for threats, searching for signs of rejection even in completely neutral interactions. We see how this distorts communication here. A simple text arrives. Instead of reading it plainly, the hypervigilant mind overanalyzes punctuation and response times, generating false warnings. This forces you to pull back, reinforcing the exact loneliness you are trying to escape. Prolonged isolation creates a cruel paradox regarding empathy. Because emotional exchange hurts, the brain allows its active empathy to weaken, treating it like an unused muscle, to shield you from the pain of unmet connection. Yet simultaneously, these individuals develop incredible emotional intelligence. Years of analyzing human behavior from the outside grants them a quiet depth and a sharp radar for authenticity. They fiercely crave human connection, but they are trapped by fear. To them, vulnerability feels as dangerous as walking barefoot through a field of broken glass. The human brain, however, is highly plastic. Neural pathways can change. Because social trust acts like a muscle, it can rebuild its strength through steady, deliberate repetition. This rewiring process starts with tiny acts of courage. It looks like consciously making eye contact with a stranger or answering a message directly instead of overthinking the response. If you find yourself in this deeply isolated state, recognize that it is not a permanent identity. You are currently enduring a psychological winter. The years spent observing others from the outside have built an acute awareness of authenticity. This analytical depth provides a framework for rare, intentional connection once you begin to re-engage the empathy muscle. When you reach that point, you'll realize that true friendship doesn't require perfection. It requires mutual gentleness and the willingness to simply be present. You are not broken or unworthy of belonging. Your brain has simply been executing a survival strategy that you are now learning to outgrow. Loneliness is merely the starting line for your next chapter. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated with you, please subscribe to Mind Lab as we continue exploring the hidden depths of human psychology. Leave a comment below. You might find someone who shares that same understanding. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.